Hi, I'm Magnus Hansson, Chief Medical Officer at Abliva. When we designed our Phase 2-3 study for KL1333, we wanted to focus on what really matters to patients. So we listened to the patient's voice. In 2019, we joined the patient advocacy group UMDF, which arranged a meeting to really listen to patients, what they feel influences their activities of daily living most, and what they really want us, the drug developers, to focus on. At that meeting were also representatives from the regulatory agencies, FDA. What we learned from that meeting was that chronic fatigue, that is a debilitating sensation of lack of energy, lack of physical and mental energy, and excessive tiredness, that's the number one symptom that the patients want us to address. And the number two symptom was muscle weakness. We therefore set out to understand these symptoms better. So first we focused on fatigue. So the questions we wanted to ask and interview patients to understand was, how is fatigue like for mitochondrial disease patients, and how is it different from general tiredness? And secondly, how does fatigue impact their daily activities of living? And third, how do we best ask questions in a clinical trial setting to measure the impact of KL1333 on patients' fatigue? What we learned was that fatigue is indeed very common. It typically is present every day, and for most patients it gets gradually worse as their disease progresses. It affects both physical capabilities, such as the ability to work, to study, to do everyday household chores, but also your mood and mental energy. We use this information to select the most relevant questions from available item banks, and then tested those questions again on the patients to make sure that they actually capture what we intend. And we now have a validated short questionnaire that we believe accurately measures the level of fatigue in mitochondrial disease patients, and as well as has a good ability to detect treatment effects. In the interviews, we also learned that and confirmed that muscle weakness and exercise intolerance are very common in mitochondrial disease patients, and that it very often affects the lower extremities. So the second part of our clinical trial, Will KL1333, focuses on these types of movements that are very relevant for mitochondrial disease patients. We are grateful to the patients that have shared their story with us and helped us design better tools to evaluate mitochondrial disease and taking KL1333 forward. Thank you.